Thrive impacted me to the utmost. Thrive humbled me, all right? Thrive taught me patience. Thrive also brought me family that I needed but didn't think that I wanted. It allowed me to see that you can have a home at a workplace. I've never seen a workplace where you can go, I can't wait to get there so I can be covered. So that is a beautiful thing about Thrive. You know, once you walk through these doors, if you wasn't covered outside of here, you cover it once you get here.
Number one is access to the kingdom. Man, I think that is number one. Number two, obviously our faculty and staff. I believe that our team here is very unique in the way that God put it together, in the way that Dr. Hall envisioned it. I believe every person on our staff brings their own unique giftings to this workspace, and they bring and also, you know, their degrees are cool, their accolades, their resumes are solid, but we're allowed to be our unique and individual selves here.
The culture here allows our students to be able to excel. It allows them to be able to thrive. And to me, that's the thing that you can't really put a price on. There's so many parents that say, oh, that school is ranked so-and-so according to this website. Let me put them there. But then when their kid doesn't do good, it's like, okay, maybe there's something wrong with my kid. No, maybe there's something wrong with the establishment. Maybe there's something wrong with academia. Maybe there's something wrong with the culture that exists in those places. But I promise you, I've seen the testimony, I've heard the testimony, and I've seen that there's students here that came from other places where they were looked at as if they were not enough, and they came here and excelled. They came here and became top students. They came here and going off to college even though they never thought college was a possibility. You have the ability to dream here, and more importantly, you have the ability to actually watch that dream come to fruition.
The 2025 curriculum guide. Tonight we are going to introduce you to the curriculum as we discussed it last semester. Thank you to those guardians that were able to fill in and complete the actual curriculum survey that we put out. So you could kind of give us some feedback. All the teachers gave feedback as well. And so thank you all that were able to join us in person. Thank you to the huge amount of families that are joining us on Zoom. And we pray that tonight is a productive night. We're going to have an opening prayer by Ms. Audrey Berry Campbell, the baddest kindergarten teacher in the land. And so you can take your posture of prayer at this time. Thank you. Let us pray. Almighty and gracious Father, thank you for having us meet in this session to discuss the welfare of our students. Father God, as we discuss, let it be meaningful to both parents, teachers, and students. Thank you for protecting us day by day. Thank you for a place that called Thrive, where we can come and pray and give our testimony. Lord, I ask you for safe journey for each one of us as we finish with our curriculum night. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen, amen, amen. All right, cool. And so we're gonna hop right into what we're here to talk about tonight. Tonight we have some special guests from Georgia Can. They joined us for our college and career fair. We had over 500 students and families here for that event, and they thought it not robbery to come back tonight to help us to just talk about the Georgia Tax Promise Scholarship that's coming up. That opens up, the application actually opens this Saturday. And so we want to make sure that you're well equipped and that you're informed of this new resource that's coming to us for the first time in the history of the state of Georgia. But school choice vouchers and educational savings accounts have been a thing in other, 13 states now. And so Georgia is finally joining the bandwagon. So we want to make sure that our families are able to take advantage of this opportunity. At this time, I welcome, I don't know who wants to come to the stage. She's coming to the stage tonight. All right. Mr. ABD, how about this? All right.
excited to share for you guys. I'm Stephen Quinn. I'm with Georgia Can. We're a nonprofit here in our state that does education advocacy and engagement. And so our work has been really rooted in making sure families understand what options they have available. So the Georgia Promise Scholarship is a new scholarship that's available to current students that are in public schools. So if you are in a private school or in a homeschool environment, you cannot use a scholarship, but it is something that might be available to other families looking that might have other children that might be considering options. So what this program does allow you to use is use these funds to go to an approved private school in our state. You have to at least attend to one of the bottom 25% schools in our off of our list. And so for most DeKalb County schools, it does fall into this list. One of the things that I will share is that it's an attended zone. So if you are zoned for, let's say, Salem Middle School, and it's on the list, but you also attend that feeder school that goes into the elementary school, you will qualify because it's technically the residential zone in that space. So there's a large opportunity. DeKalb is one of the number 3 on the list for the most schools that are on the failing or low performing school list that is out there from the state. Those funds can be used for private school tuition. It can be used for also homeschool environments, micro schools, potentially also tutoring or high dosage tutoring. So you receive $6,500 specifically if you have to, once you apply. The application does open on Saturday, which is kind of crazy to say. It'll open up to families. You go on, apply. We have a cap of $140 million that are available to families. It does mean sometimes that some families may not receive those funds if we run out of those that $140 million. So there are a couple times to apply. The first round will be starting Saturday, and that will go all through the month of March. And then there'll be a secondary time in June, followed by the third time, which will be in September. So if you are considering something like this program is available. We have a great handout, as well as you can go to www.georgiapromise.org, and that'll give you a ton of information. You can pre-screen and see if you qualify for this program. 9 times out of 10, families that we're talking to have figured out they can qualify. So it's a really great opportunity to go out and see what options are available to you beyond the traditional public school system. The other program is the Georgia Special Needs Scholarship. Yes. So if you have a son or daughter who has an IEP or 504, they could qualify for the Georgia Special Needs Scholarship, and that scholarship is available to families, and it's based on that child's IEP and 504. So those amounts vary. On average, it's about $6,800 to $7,000 per student. I've seen as high as $10,000 per student. And so there are a number of schools across the Metro Atlanta area, as well as other schools that are outside of Metro too, that accept this scholarship. You do have to be approved, or there's no application period for this. You technically receive it. You just have to go on and say that this is your amount through the state website, which will be in July of this year. And then the tax credit is also for families. So if you are interested, a little bit about tax credit scholarships is that there's a portion of funds that we've set aside that we can write up those tax dollars for the tuition that you pay. You can make donations to a state scholarship organization. I'm sure Thrive has worked specifically with one, so I highly encourage you to check with them to see which one that is, and those dollars can be used back on your taxes. So it's kind of a pay it forward experience, which is helpful. But that's all in terms of the choice programs. There are a number of other opportunities, but the My Georgia Promise Scholarship is opening on Saturday. We're happy to walk you through a little bit more detail if you're looking for it, and we're excited to be here. So yeah.
We have the for our family and, well, we're our family now, but we do it on Thursday. So thank you all so much for coming out. Thank you for, taking the time out. I know it's the evening, so we do appreciate you. I think I have more families online than in the building, but I'm gonna get all your information to make sure that we pass along. So thank you all for coming out with us tonight. All right, cool. And so we're moving right along. And so, if you scan this QR code, it will take you to the new faculty and summary, guide for Thrive Christian Academy. It looks something like this, but also the first page of it is the curriculum guide that you have a hard copy of if you're in the building tonight. If you're online, if you take a screenshot of the Zoom, and then you can go back and click the QR, hold the QR code and say visit website, and it'll take you there. But on that faculty and staff summary sheet, you'll see a summary of all the positions that the teachers hold. You'll see a summary of your admin team here at Thrive Christian Academy. Some general information about where we're going and what we're looking to do is also available there. And so feel free to check that out at your leisure. All the teachers are here tonight with the exception of Mr. G, who teaches high school math, who had emergency surgery yesterday, but glory be to God for being a keeper. And so he is at home recovering from that. And then Miss Jasmine did after school care for us. So she teaches in the infant room. So she really doesn't have a curriculum, but she loves you guys. Thanks. And Miss Emily, she's here. She's part of the Prep Academy. Her curricula is out on the table, but she's doing after school care, wrapping up after school care for us, for families that are taking their time coming to get their babies so they can jump into curriculum night. All right. And so, but other than that, you'll see your entire faculty and staff there electronically. And so feel free to view that and review it at your leisure, just so you can kind of know who to see for what. All right. And so we're moving right along. And that's what you see when you go to the QR code. All right, cool. And so let's talk about where we're going, where we're headed to in 2025. We have these profile sheets out. Some of you may have seen them if you came to the College and Career Carnival. We did have these out in the lobby. We had these out at the School Choice Expo that I know quite a few attended and that we participated in and were showcased in. And you should have a hard copy of it now. If you don't have a hard copy of it, feel free to raise your hand and one of your faculty and staff will bring it to you. Looks like this on the front. It says stream on the back. Okay, and so our academic dean, Ms. Sabrina Rogers, is going to come and talk to you a little bit about our stream transition. We were already doing this, but now we're just formalizing it, and then we'll hop straight into the curriculum. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. One of my favorite days of the year, it's curriculum night. And so stream, you go around and you hear about all of these STEM and STEAM schools. Well, what does that look like at Thrive, being a Christian school? So we had to, of course, add our R for religion. And so we are a stream school. And of course, this is already something that we were doing. And so, of course, our S is for science. All of you all's favorite time of year, science fair, charcoal board, watching things mold for weeks and weeks and weeks. That's the time of the year, yes. Science, that's our science. And then this year we added our STEM lab. All of our parents are excited about STEM middle and high school. And so that is something that we've added. We also added our cool esports lab that junior students are going home talking about. And then our broadcasting and journalism studio with Mr. AJ doing all the fun and computer science. We did add computer science as well. Technology, we're excited. And then of course, Fridays, we always have chapel every Friday morning or afternoon, or however we need to do it to get our Jesus in for the week. And so we did add the R for religion. And then we have engineering because we've been shifting a lot of our students with our STEM program, as well as with science fair projects. I noticed this year we had a lot more engineering projects that we've ever seen in the past versus just the science portion. So we're really excited about that. And then arts, of course, you see our drum line at all our fun events, and then our majorette team and our cheerleading team. And then we're adding to that program as well. And then of course, mathematics. We're excited. And so we did notice some feedback from the parents as well as our students, and just noticing some things across the board. So we're excited to be adding back SACS and math, but you will hear about that from our math department. And so I don't want to step on any toes there. Sorry, Mr. Johnson. And so, but that is our stream program. And so we're just excited because even though, like Dr. Hall said, it's something that we have been doing, it's something about putting a name on it to put that stamp on there and make it official. And so God honors that. And so we're excited. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed tonight.
We'll go clap it up for our academic name. All right, and so what we did is we try to take the best aspects of Thrive Christian Academy. We summarize those in our 4 C's, which will be our charges for the next 4 years. Campus life, that covers all of our annual events. We're big on events. We're big on celebrating the accomplishments of our young people, but also their creativity. And so if you came to the Christmas program, if you've ever been to any Thrive hosted event, you know, everything is over the top, including our inaugural college and career fair that we had. So anybody come? Were y'all here? Did your kids ride the rides? Everybody kids came? Okay, cool, good. All right, cool. And then also chapel. Chapel is always going to be an essential part of Thrive. I was talking this morning in the prayer huddle with the teachers just about throughout the years, the number of investors that have come and said, oh, you need to take Christian out the name. We can't fund you if you have Christian in the name. We've had investors and even commercial banks decline us for loans, commercial loans, because the campuses that we choose have staples. And they're like, you can't have a steeple on the top of the building because it's considered church or a religious facility, so we can't do that. And so I was just talking about how God has been faithful because we've been faithful to him. And so I appreciate that Chapel will always be an integral part of Thrive. And as Mr. Brenner alluded to, whether we're coming back from Jacksonville and we can't get here in the morning and we got to push it to 1:30, we're going to get our chapel, okay? And so any opportunity. Also, the 3rd C is for community. We do believe in the love of Christ. We believe in doing it in an agape fashion. We try to encourage our students to mediate, to work on reconciliation, to root and ground their relationships in love. And so that's important to us. And culture. We do exercise culturally relevant teaching and strategies and pedagogies and assessments. And so that's always been an integral part of Thrive and always will be. So you can continue to expect that, even though the books or the means of the academics may be changing slightly, those core values and those pillars will stay the same, okay? And so as it pertains to stream, as I said, we were already doing that, and as Ms. Sabrina alluded to, we're just trying to be more intentional, right? And so a lot of the curriculum decisions were made intentionally to incorporate religion more intentionally outside of the devotion and the talking and the mentoring and the coaching and the SEL and all the things that we do that are based in Christianity. We wanted our kids to, because sometimes our kids confuse that with just our character versus pointing to the character of God. And so a lot of the curriculum changes and integrations have been intentional decisions to incorporate religion in every cohort and in every department. So you'll see that as you walk the room, okay? And then so that's pretty much the summary of our profile sheet. This is accurate. And so this is kind of what your students are making up for us. And so we appreciate your due diligence and you being part of the Thrive community because we understand that you play a role in us being able to profile in this way with 100% graduation rate. We know that's not all on us. We know that we worry you with science fair. My science team is very clear. You know, I love my teachers. And so 3 science projects at one time gives me a headache. And so I'm with you. I advocate for you. I get outvoted every year. But I'm super excited about what we're doing and the resources God is affording our students. We took our students to Florida A&M last semester, and they were able to actually be able to relate and draw ties between what they were seeing and their experience here at Thrive. And that was a big deal for us, definitely a big deal for me, coming from 2 students in a small 4-bedroom house with no internet. Okay, and so God has brought us a mighty long way, and so we're grateful for our kids being afforded those opportunities. We don't want them to take it to neglect those opportunities that are in the building. So we do want to have kind of the STEM reinforcement. We do want to have the religious reinforcement. So when we take them to the agricultural schools, when we take them to the mechanical schools, when they decide they want to major in engineering or architecture, and we travel to Chicago and we do the architecture boat tour, that there's some context and relevance here when they return back to the campus, okay? And so that's why we're going that direction. We're already there, but thank you for your support in that regard. We are headed into breaking down the curriculum by department. And so if you do not know, your department leads or your departments are the core subjects. And so science, social studies, ELA, and mathematics. And that's how we're sorted tonight. So it's not broken down by cohort. But when you visit the math table, all three cohorts will be represented. So you'll see elementary, you'll see middle, you'll see high, and the teachers will be there appropriately for you to inquire as necessitated by the grade that your student is in. We know the majority of our families have more than one baby in the building, and so we sought to do it by department in that regard. On the stage, you have some department representatives that are going to present the department as a whole. Across all three components, elementary, middle, high, and also exceptional learners. You can see Ms. Banks, and then they'll shift from here to their actual table, and then we'll free you up. Please do patron Georgia Can. They came all this way. We have over 300 families, but I guess everybody went Zoom tonight. But if you're here, definitely patron them. The faculty and staff, we're going to patron you because we have babies too. Some here, some in public schools, some in other spaces. So many of us qualify as well. So again, thank you all for coming out tonight. All right, so I'm going to shift straight into the top of the curriculum summaries. If you scan this QR code, it'll give you access to the items that the teachers up here are holding. And you can follow along with them, or you can review it later on tonight. And again, if you're on Zoom, is this QR code in your Zoom, Mr. AJ? Cool. And so you can just take a screenshot of your screen, hold down the QR code, visit link, and it'll put you in the same place that we are, okay? But for now, you can give your attention to the faculty that's on the stage. They're gonna give you an overview, and then we'll go ahead and set you free to visit the tables. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ho. I am Mrs. Stampley Williams, and I have the honor and privilege to go first on behalf of our English Language Arts Department. And so I am also known as Miss Netta. And then a shout out to our other department members. We have Ms. Demore Longstreet in the back of the room for elementary. And then we have Dr. Joshua Troncoso for high school. AKA Dr. T and AKA Miss D. And so for elementary, well, let me get started as a whole. So for English, we have some amazing readers here. Amazing readers at Thrive in all of the various cohorts. But what we're noticing is some challenges with comprehension. And not just reading comprehension, but also written comprehension. And so this particular curriculum shift is an answer to many of your inquiries. Some of you who are in my face right now in person and also on Zoom have reached out asking, how can I help my student to be successful? They're struggling. They're struggling. And so these shifts that we're going to share tonight are the proposed antidotes for that, because we earnestly want to be intentional about our approach to curriculum. And so we definitely don't want to jump the gun. And so that's why it's taken several months. And so for those of you who have been anxious, the wait is over. Yeah. All right, so for elementary, elementary is going to be exploring Reading Wonders by McGraw-Hill. And so in the past, we have actually used that. I remember when I first started teaching at Thrive, my fifth graders were in Reading Wonders. And so we're taking it back to the fundamentals. And that is what this particular curriculum allows elementary to be able to do, especially with a focus on phonics. And that's going to help to give them a foundation that's going to help them to be successful in middle and high and beyond. And so in addition to that, it's tried and true. So as I shared when I first began 4 years ago, this was one of our main curriculum that we used even over in middle school. So now us bringing it back is going to allow us to return to those high scores in ITBS testing, which was experienced in the past. And so again, all of these changes and shifts are to help our students to be more successful, but also to be competitive, not just here at Thrive. We want our babies to be able to go anywhere and be able to rock out, as Principal Lowe would say, but in a stellar way, And so we have the character on lock, we have, the heart posture on lock. And so now we are making sure that all of our T's are crossed and I's are dotted. So for middle school, Middle school is going to be exploring elements of language. And so I previously taught that when I first came to Thrive as well. And so I'm excited about elements of language. This is a textbook and we are going to dive right in, but it also explores not just reading, but it covers comprehension, also critical thinking. Critical thinking is definitely something that we push on a regular basis. I say it in the classroom almost every day, if not every week. It's not important for our students to be just great at reading and writing, but you also need to be critical thinkers. Because critical thinking is something that you can apply to any subject, to any area in life. And so elements of language, in addition to us continuing in our exploration of creative writing and penmanship skills, are going to take our middle schoolers to the next level. And then for high school, ta-da, we are going to be in Abeka for grammar and vocabulary. They're also going to be exploring creative writing, which is something that I am passionate about. But they also have, they're gifted in so many different ways. One of our students wrote a poem today in celebration of our founder. And just the fortitude and the intentionality that was rooted in that, but also the skill. People look at sometimes poetry as, oh, that's just the thing. But now I was sharing with the students, it is actually a discipline in many of our higher education institutions where you can actually degree in creative writing. And so we are going to be exposing them to that now on the high school level as well. And then in addition, the Becca is going to also give them, outside of Becca, excuse me, we'll be exploring African-American literature. Because as Principal Mo said, culture is a part of who we are at Thrive. And so if you want more information, you can visit us at the ELA table in the back, and we are more than happy to allow you to explore the textbooks and to be able to talk one-on-one with us about what it is that we have in the coming year. But thank you all, and we look forward to just exploring all things ELA. Thank you so much.
How we doing, family? My name is Clifton Johnson. I am representing the math department here at Thrive Christian Academy, and I teach middle school math. The new curriculum we're going to be exploring as far as mathematics is going to be Saxon Math. This is a curriculum that we are familiar with. We have studied it up. And based on some of the things that we're noticing within our students from the elementary, middle school, as well as high school level, we believe that this is the best curriculum to be able to address some of those matters. What is Saxon Math? Saxon Math is basically a curriculum that uses what they coined as the spiral method of teaching and learning. And what that means is we introduce a math concept and we constantly repeat it. It's repetitive, repetitive, repetitive. And the reason why we're doing that is because we find that as we continue to show students the same lessons in which they learn, it allows them to process it into long-term memory and ultimately leads to the best possible retention of the subject matter. What does that look like when it comes to a numbers perspective? We have students that pretty much will learn, let's just say integers, negative numbers, things of that nature. But then time will go by and they haven't seen it again. So then when it does come back up, because all math is connected, it feels like, oh, I'm not 100% showing them. Let me find that old notebook. What we want to do is make sure that whatever it is that we teach them, we're consistently showing it to them so they never have a down moment to be able to lose knowledge or information. And by doing so, we believe that it'll make sure that they hold on to it for future reference. So by the time they get to another grade level, they're like, oh, I still remember all of that because it was able to be processed into long-term memory. One of the things that we're noting in general with our students is that everything is so short term. I watch a video for 3 seconds, I swipe. I watch a video for 3 seconds, I swipe. We're trying to make sure that we can have them retain information in a way that allows them to be able to prosper as academics and scholars. And we believe that Saxon Math is the best way to do that. Another great thing about it is that it sparks their critical thinking. I know we've heard that before, but it's so key when it comes to our student body, especially with the world that they're going into. A lot of what they are learning, we want to make sure that they're able to translate that into the real world so that mathematics in general, as well as the other curriculums, is something that they can actually appreciate and value because they see where it exists in the real world. When we come to a situation like, say, at the elementary school level, we have a lot of students, math facts, multiplication. 9 times 8 is 72, yes, but when it gets to division in a later lesson, it's okay, what's 72 divided by 9? The answer is 8. If 9 times 8 is 72, it should be the same in reverse. So we want to make sure that we draw those connections, that we draw those bridges. When it comes to the high school level, we want to make sure that students understand. We just had our Marketplace Monday, which was absolutely phenomenal. Students were able to create business, display entrepreneurship. We want to make sure that when they're in the classroom learning about something like slope-intercept, we want to make sure that they can apply that to business and understand exactly what that means as far as your fixed costs, as far as the quantity in which you sell, as far as your overall price and how they can ultimately lead to profits. So we want to make sure that they don't just experience mathematics in the classroom, but they also understand where this is in the real world. Because one of the hardest parts about math is that you have to be able to see it. One of the things that I love teaching is fractions, because I've set up a basketball hoop in my classroom to allow students to just take jump shots. Why? Because they're having fun with it, but I'm having them tally. How many shots did you take? How many shots did you make? Let's actually do division and find out your shooting percentage. Let's turn that percentage into a decimal now. Let's see what your overall average is. Things of that nature. So now when they turn on sports and they say Steph Curry is shooting 42% from 3, they're like, oh, mom, I know exactly what that means. That means this season he shot 300 of them, and of the 300 that he shot, he made X amount. So we want to make sure that you guys see those conversations happening at home, and not just, it's just something that's in my notebook that I'm never going to see again. We want to make sure that it becomes a part of their everyday life. And we believe that the curriculum that is in Saxon Math applies the best real world concepts, applies the spiral method of teaching and learning to allow it to be repetitive so that they retain it in the long term. And we ultimately believe that that's going to help make them better scholars in the future. Again, my department includes Mr. G, myself, and Mrs. Martin. If you have any further questions for us, we'll be back there at the Saxon Math table. Please feel free to come and hang with us.
Good evening. My name is Ms. LaShonda Lockett. I am the high school science teacher. Before I begin, let me just call out the rest of my department, our department, science department, Ms. Graves, our STEM director, and Mr. Johnson, elementary science teacher. For science in K-3 science curriculum, they will be using Abeka this year. Also, 4 through 8 will also be using Abeka. With the Abeka curriculum for science, it's going to create a continuous learning process that will follow them throughout the grades from kindergarten through high school. So with the Abeka, it's going to also introduce them to STEM lab expectations, because they will be introduced to the STEM lab. It will also introduce them to critical thinking, just like Ms. Natalie Williams mentioned in ELA. Also in science, we require the same thing. We want them to be critical thinking. And as Ms. Monica said, when science fair time comes up, that's a big portion of it, is the critical thinking part of it, being able to apply. So Abeka will create that beginning foundation for our science students. When they get to 4 through 8 in Abeka, they will also have more writing opportunities will begin to help them develop their writing skills. Because in science, we also require that they write. We want them to know how to write. So we want them to see that there's an extension from ELA to science. It's all connected, and getting them to see that Abeka curriculum will assist in that. It will encourage reasoning, which once again will support science fair. So when your kids come home with the science fair, they're not sure how to create those questions, those purposes, those problems that they have to do. The curriculum will assist us as teachers to teach them how they're able to come up with those questions now. It will also create a high rigor where they will be pushed more in science. They will be pushed more. So when they get to me, when I'm in high school, I'm a high school teacher, and when you get to high school, because it's then it's by subject. So 9th grade will have biology, 10th grade will have chemistry, 11th grade will have environmental science, and 12th will have physics. They will have the foundation that they have already gathered from the Abeka curriculum, from the elementary to the middle school. And high school will be using the McGraw-Hill books. So it's very comparable and comfortable to the Abeka.
Good evening. My name is Marquise White. And I have the pleasure and privilege to teach high school social studies. And part of my team here at Thrive is Coach D, who teach middle school social studies, and Mr. Sparks, who take care of the elementary. Thank you, Mr. Sparks. And I must admit, this is the best core subject in the world, which is social studies / history. That's right, we bring it. We bring it.
Yeah.
Real quick, for elementary and middle school, we're going to continue to use Acellus for this for social studies. And because of that, the students will receive the foundation that they need to have once they get to me in high school, dealing with social studies / history. We're going back to the textbooks in high school for a couple of reasons that I enjoy doing with my high school students, because I'm trying to prepare them for the real world and also trying to get them ready for college. One thing I try to do with the textbooks, they have more discussion questions, open-end questions, where our students have the opportunity to write, be creative in what they're learning, and try to apply to what's going on today. History is changing every day. So what I try to do is I try to use whatever's in the textbook and bring it more current to today's environment to show them how history have changed over centuries. And they're able to understand that and apply. Now they're gonna be able to apply in more of a discussion, debate, and in writing. One way I do teach, I like getting feedback from my students. But when we do that, when we do debate, they have to use factual information. So they just can't say something random off the top of their head, not based on factual or primary sources that they have read and used in class or at home. For homework, with the textbooks that we're going to use for high school, each book have a workbook come with it. Now with the workbook, they may have 2 or 3 questions, but they are open-end questions where they have to read a passage and draw their own conclusion and write complete sentences to explain their answers. So they won't be able to write sentence fragments where it doesn't make sense. So this is going to help them to be more creative, do the 3 parts of writing: subject, predicate, and complete thought, on expressing their views on different topics. And I'm looking forward to going back to the textbook because of these reasons. So if you have any questions for us, feel free to join us this evening at the table. And thank you for listening and coming out tonight.
All right, well, thank you so much. Can we make some noise and clap it up for you again on the stage? All right, and so the course subjects that have been covered so far are represented at the tables to my right, to your left. Starting with the science department, and then we're going ELA, then math, then Georgia Candace right here, so you can't get past them. You can't leave without getting past them, so I want to make sure that we see them and make it worth their while if they came out tonight. And then the social studies table is there, and then next up is exceptional learners. And so you have an exceptional learner or a student with an IEP or anything related in that agenda. Ms. Banks is the subject matter expert in that regard, and she's there for you all to come and visit with her. And then the Prep Academy, the Thrive Preparatory Academy, is also represented by Ms. Audrey Barrett Campbell, who has her kindergarten curriculum on the table, and also Ms. Renata, who has her pre-K curriculum there. And then Ms. Emily has the toddler 2 and kindergarten 3 curriculum there as well. And Ms. Sabrina will be over there as the director of the Prep Academy if you have any questions. This next table is the elective table. And so it just lists some of the electives that we've already added, and then some of the electives that are to be added coming up this fall semester. If you are a returning student here at Thrive Christian Academy, you know, we put out a survey in July where you guys kind of vouch in on what electives you would like to see added. And then we try our best to find vendors or instructors for those particular electives. One of the electives that we added this year was Army JROTC. And so we were super excited about that. Parents have been asking for it. We were finally able to do that through Christian JROTC, a nonprofit organization that offers JROTC from a Christian perspective. And displayed here, my babies, my cadets, they are building out part of the curriculum. It teaches life skills, it teaches home ec as well. And so we're working on learning how to change batteries, help us Lord, how to jump off vehicles. But with that, we're also working on our homework skill of building. So we're contractors and sort. And so we have a mini school bus that we haven't used in forever. And so we are contractors, let me put it that way, okay? We are converting the mini school bus to a mobile library. And so part of that is that thanks to you all's purchases during the Scholastic book fair, we were able to go into Scholastic and use the credits that we earned to purchase these Nooks. And so my cadets have put together these Nooks. They have 10 of them to go, but they got 2 of them together so far. And our ELA department that is just top tier, they have purchased thousands of dollars of books and textbooks for all the grade levels in the building. And so this is just a preview of what is to come. And we're going to gut the bus, we're going to line it and carpet it and put this in there. And the kids will be able to just go get on the bus and sit in the Nook. You sit in it. You should see the pictures. It's really cool. I can't fit there, but students can. And they're going to sit in the Nook and they're going to grab their book from underneath it. They're going to read their hearts out and it's going to be fun. But I just wanted our students, our cadets, to be able to kind of display what we're doing. Everything at Thrive is an intentional decision. We don't have things that our students aren't interested in. And so definitely, again, thank you for those of you that offer feedback. Because it's one thing if you catch us in the hallway and you have a complaint about something, but it's different when we actually put out surveys and we ask for your input, like we did for the curriculum survey. Thank you to those that contributed to that and who were able to contribute to that. And thank you for the feedback, because the decision to add CJROTC has been beneficial, not only for the families of those 16 cadets, but for our school as a whole. They've taken on all kinds of projects. They've gutted the mobile mini, reorganized that so that we could clear the gym in preparation for the HBCU Carnival. They've been the arms and the legs, and they've performed many service hours and made us reputable. And they made themselves look good, and they've taken on just the character of Christ. They've learned how to be selfless leaders. And so we're super excited about that. So every elective is intentional. I'm pitching to you, please do complete the surveys when we put them out so that we can kind of tailor what we offer to the student population that's here. We don't know how to pitch to people that aren't here. So we cater to the babies that are in the building, and everybody else that joins, get in where you fit in. And when it's your turn to be a veteran at Thrive, you get to give your input too, right? And so everything over there has been requested by students from the media and culture elective, taught by Mr. AJ in the broadcast studio, to the addition of digital information technology, aka computer science, taught by Mr. RJ, to 3D rendering and game design, proctored by Mr. JC, the keyboarding elective taught by Mrs. Blackman, and then we still have the HBI program. And so I'm gonna free you up right after I pitch this. And so the HBI program, the Home Builders Initiative, was a grant that we received and we're eligible for. We can't tap into it yet because we don't have enough students signed up. And so this is the program that I pitched over the summer and at family orientation that allows our students, our high schoolers, well, 8th grade and up, to acquire certifications in HVAC, plumbing, carpentry, painting, right? And so some straight out of high school vocations. And so you all asked for vocation opportunities, vocational training, and we went out and did our due diligence to get that for our babies, but we only had 4 students to sign up, so we have to have a minimum class of 11. Right? And so 100 Black Men of Atlanta are one of the sponsors for that. Home Depot is the major sponsor for it. And so it's sitting there waiting for us to claim it. And so I am asking, that when you do make suggestions, that you make sure that it's in keeping with what your students are interested in, right? Because we don't want to do the legwork to acquire these things and then we're not able to produce excellence as people expect us to do as Thrive, right? And so definitely we're open to your suggestions, we're open to your recommendations, and we would love to be able to take advantage of the great opportunity. We have instructors. Dr. T has signed up to be an instructor. Mr. White, they're willing to build out a mechanic shop for us, depending on, which certifications our students want. So now we're just looking for the students that have that interest and that want to pursue it. And the truth is that all of our babies aren't interested in college. Some of them are trying to come straight out of school and get straight to it. And these are very, very financially beneficial occupations. Okay. Anybody have something repaired in their house? Okay, nobody, it's about to be hot in Georgia. You're gonna pay the HVAC contractor what they tell you have to pay, right? If you came to our campus yesterday, the church was having 2 air conditioning units installed, right? huge crane outside, 40-ton units being lifted up and installed. Somebody made a lot of money yesterday. It could have been your son or your daughter, right? And so I definitely encourage us to look into these occupations. Plumbing, what? Nobody wants to clog their toilet, so you pay what they say you have to pay. When you call and there's poop going all over the place, your septic tank is running over, you don't have time to negotiate space. You're just like, cool, $1,100, I just want it fixed, right? And so that $1,100 could be going into your son or your daughter's pocket, right? And they could earn these certifications while they're in high school. So these are things that they could be doing every summer. We could pair them up. We have families and parents that have volunteered to accept our students on as interns. Like we have HVAC company owners in our own population, right? And so your students can be employed, they can get out your pocket. Hey, you know, and so I can't wait for my kids to, I'm signing all of them up. And so, and they don't have to choose just one. You can do multiple certifications. They can earn all 9 if they want to, right? And so they can just graduate and have this in their back pocket just in case that plan A doesn't work out. It's always something to fall back on. It's like having a CDL license, right? Which is also something that we're looking to add. But we can't even get the driver's ed class. It's a scholarship for it. Every parent here, the Black Men's, Ms. James, everyone that applied for the scholarship received it. So the $678 was covered, and we were going to offer it here on our campus, but you have to have a minimum of 6 students. So now they have to take their babies to Lawrenceville Highway. It's not far, but we could have offered it here had we had more participation. And so God is opening doors for us. God is affording us the resources and opportunities for our young people. And so we're just asking that if you suggested that you commit to it and you make sure that your student is committed to it. So this idea of like, I sign up and then I quit, that's just ridiculous, right? And so thank you all for your feedback. We do have an elected table set up, and we're super excited to greet you tonight. Feel free to stop at any of the tables. Definitely, please, Patient Georgia Can, because last time they came to campus, they had over 500 visitors. Now all of us gonna see them. So that's gonna be about 40 of us. We're gonna send the students too. Okay. All right, cool. But while they're here, let me get my squad right here. Ms. Banks, Ms. Renata, Ms. Barrett, can you guys grab these bags right here? Just a token of our appreciation to Georgia Can. We've got a Victor's fan pack for you. And so we do appreciate you coming back. And so we can just present those. I think there's various sizes there. I don't know how they're marked, but they should be marked. It's in the corner, Mr. Moore, of the bag. I don't know what that means. Mr. Moore's walking around to tell you. Okay, cool. And if that's not your size shirt, let us know, because I have a whole apparel situation going on over here, okay? And so give that one to someone that you love, and then I'll pull you another one. But we definitely thank you for coming out tonight. We appreciate you. Mr. AJ texted me and said, Zoom's going crazy about Georgia Can. People are looking for contact information. And so if Mr. AJ, if you can get contact info from the table, and then we'll just add it to one of the slides so the parents online can reach out since they weren't able to make it in the building tonight. All right. Okay. And so at this point, I just want to open it up for any in general inquiries, not subject specific stuff. You can ask that at the tables, but if you have anything in general for the good of the Thrive community, we can do that now. And then Ms. Baird has already covered our leaving out from this place. She's already done the benediction. She did the opening prayer. And so we're going to free you up, hit the tables, and then feel free to stop by Georgia Can, and you can head out at your leisure. But I am available if anyone has any questions, in general questions. Yes, ma'am, Ms. White. The grade, okay. So the grade for the HBI program was sponsored by Home Depot is 8th grade and up. So they do have to be 8th grade and up.
He's almost there.
Almost there. Almost there. She's like, yeah, I need my kitchen floor redone. Quincy, get in that class. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Yeah, I'm definitely here for it. Any other questions from me? Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Are there plans for field trips? Yes, ma'am. Give me 2. Let me do the first thing first. Let's see. All right, so the QR code for the faculty and staff is up. And then Mrs. Woods, just in case you couldn't hear, Mrs. Woods is asking about field trips. And so this is the thing. During COVID, for a year and a half, our babies were virtual at NC. So we had field trip everything local in Georgia. We literally had virtual students, and once a month, we brought all the cohorts to the building, bust them on a field trip, just so they could be social and see all the things. If you go to our YouTube page, we recently just posted all of those things that we visited. But we're big on enrichment trips. Usually we go on enrichment trips in the fall and the spring. It's beta heavy and the student leader heavy. The field trips remaining for the school year. There's a field trip coming up the week of March 21st, I think it is, and an enrichment trip coming up that week, and we're headed to DC, Philly. And so I'll put that itinerary out probably next weekend. I would say tomorrow, but my birthday's tomorrow, so I won't be doing it tomorrow. But it's somewhere on my laptop. I have it. I don't know why I haven't put it out. I love you guys, but I'm gonna put it out. And so that has us making stops at North Carolina A&T. So we're going to Durham. We're going to UNC at Chapel Hill. We're stopping at Greensboro, Durham, and then we keep going. And then we're in DC. So we're at my alma mater, Howard. We're at George Washington, and then we go to Baltimore. And so we're at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, we're at Morgan State, and then we're headed to Philly, where we're in Coppin State, and I can't remember the other thing, I'm trying to see the picture in my head. And then we work our way back, but when we work our way back, we don't come 85 South, we come down through Virginia. So then we're at Norfolk State, and we are at, not North Carolina A&T, Norfolk State and North Carolina, is it NC Central? Cool, we're at North Carolina A&T on the way back. I think we're at NC Central on the way up, or it's inverted. We come back through Columbia, South Carolina. And so so that trip's coming up, and then there's a trip slated for April. April trip's coming up, and then Beta Club is traveling to Orlando in June. So yes, ma'am. But the field trips move by recommendation of the teachers. So if you want a field trip that's not an enrichment trip, email your homeroom teacher, make your suggestion and recommendation. They will fill out the form. I will say, okay. And then we will go to the thing. But all the local things that I think are fun, I've already done. I'm sorry. But hey, we take suggestions. So if you're like, hey, Miss Monica, Botanical Gardens is having blah, blah, blah. It's not a Miss Monica thing. It's field trips are prompted by your homeroom teacher. So just email your homeroom teacher your recommendations. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yes, ma'am.
So with all the, are you still gonna have the summer camp?
Absolutely. So we will have camp throughout this summer. And we have a STEM camp. We have Black Girl STEM being hosted by our STEM director back there, Miss Gray, she's cool. And then we have Black Boys STEM, also being hosted by Miss Grace, but co-hosted by I think Mr. RJ. I think I put him on that paper. He doesn't know it, but he's on there. So that'll be fun. And so we have STEM camp during the summer. We have camp throughout during the summer. We have a cheer camp during the summer. We have basketball camp with Coach D during the summer. Cheer camp with Miss Martin and Miss Sabrina during the summer. And so yes, ma'am, we're still going to offer those. Sure.
So, can Shiny's cousins come, like for dropping days, so like.
Oh, absolutely. Camp Thrive is open to the public. Yeah. Sure. Yes, Camp Thrive is open to the public. So that's where a lot of our current families came from. They started with summer camp in state. They like us. Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions in general before I set you free? Okay, cool. My only request as we head to the tables is that you be mindful that our teachers have been here since 7:30. Some of them live on the other side of Atlanta, so that means they left their home before 6:30. Okay, so we're already in a 12-hour day. Be nice, be gentle, be brief. Thank you. They want to go. Be blessed. Mr. Vice Chair, be blessed. All right, cool. And so salute. And with that being said, can we just make some noise for the faculty and staff of Thrive for hanging out with us tonight? All right, cool. And so patron the tables, definitely visit Georgia Can, and we appreciate you all coming out. Thank you to everyone that joined us on Zoom. Yeah. So we see you soon. Okay, cool. And then the last plug. Okay, here we go. I'm excited about this. All right. Before you walk out, there's a table over there. There's a QR code, and it says Heritage Ball. Okay, you ready to find Yeah. So we're all about this. Okay, so it's all about business, right? So that's our thing for Heritage Ball this year. So small Saturday. So I'm trying to catch you. Before you spend all your money, buy a guarantee you, entertainment is, okay, who has to say here to follow through? Okay, y'all know we are the definition of, we like the part. We got the whole thing, so we do not want to miss it. We have Blues Alone, the volunteer is going to work yourself, we have all kinds of entertainment that will be surprising, I'm not gonna tell you, but you should come, scan the QR code, purchase a ticket, because some of y'all have direct deposit, you got paid today, or you can wait till Saturday, that's fine too, but don't forget, okay, and one more time for the road, come on, one more time for the road. It's gonna be good. You appreciate y'all, thank you so much for